Case number 23022, the Quick Trip Store 731-1 petition. Let me go over some preliminaries. First of all, we heard this case in June, and so there is a preliminary record in the case. At the conclusion of the hearing in June, I indicated that the matter would be continued for a brief hearing on a couple of narrow points. However, partly to accommodate the number of people that have taken a new interest, and partly because our custom and practice is that when there is a material change to a petition, and there is such a change here, we sort of start all over. So we're going to ask the petitioner to present his case in its entirety again this evening. And then also, partly because that brief continuance to set a brief hearing has not been so brief. It took, the petitioner has requested several continuances since the June hearing. So we'll take the petitioner's case tonight. And then because of the number of people present, I'll probably go directly to public comment. I may or may not ask some clarifying questions during the presentation, but we'll go to public comment. We will not make a decision tonight. We will hold the hearing from now until 8 o'clock, which is our ordinary cutoff. Public comment can be facilitated in a number of ways. You can either make written statements, which will be included in the record. I understand there's a petition that's been circulated. May or may not be correct about that. And then you can make oral testimony up here under oath. If there is a spokesperson for a group of people, that person will be given a little more time. But ordinarily we have a 3-minute cutoff for public comment. I don't take repeated comments. If I hear if there's an issue about they want an outside seating area for a restaurant, and I object to red tablecloths, and 4 people get up to tell me they object to the same point, I sort of collapse it and just cut them off, frankly. So pardon me for that. Maybe a little silly example, but I didn't want to choose an example that might be related to this case. So all public comment is made under oath, and I'll go over the rules for public comment at the time that we open the record for comment. Again, you can send written comment, you can sign a petition, or you can make oral testimony. If we do not conclude this evening, we have an open hearing date of the 26th, I understand, and we will reconvene on the 26th. So with that, I'll recognize the petitioner to come up to the microphone and start your presentation. Is there are you a lawyer?
The attorney.
Are you representing or
Representing, I swore in last time. I can re-swear.
we should probably swear in all your witnesses again.
Right, and we do have, I believe, 2 witnesses that are participating by Zoom.
Oh, we do? Okay,
Yes.
well, I don't see any faces up there, so
Kale is our traffic.
yeah, I
consultant.
see but I don't, I want to have everybody's, oh, there's KLOA. Okay, so all of the witnesses that you wish to present, even by way of the possibility of answering a question, I've asked that everybody be sworn in at the same time by the court.
Would you raise your right hands, please? And anybody else other than Louis? That's it? You do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give at this cause and hour hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, we do.
All right, sir, let's start with exhibits. Council, could you go through the exhibit list?
So we did prepare a packet of just updated plans being for the record. My name is Nick Fatikas, F-T-I-K-A-S.
Excuse me a second, excuse me, could you do that on the podium? Thank you.
Okay, so you're gonna rely on exhibits from the June hearing?
So we're relying on updated plans from the June hearing. So I wanted to just go, each of them has been titled so that we have a plan set, corresponding survey. We can go through them as part of, it's entirely up to you as to how we.
Well, I'm gonna mark them because we have June exhibits and now October exhibits. I'm gonna mark them as, this survey will be the 10/12/23 exhibit. Oh, you got ABC, exhibit A. What's next?
Sure, what we can do is if you want to just take this packet and enter it as group exhibit. For the 10/12 hearing.
Yeah, I'll do a group exhibit, except for the survey and the site plan, which are the material exhibits.
Got it.
So it's page 3 here, the site plan.
So page 3 is the site plan.
Page 2 is also the site plan, it's just not here.
Well, it's a colored aerial.
Yeah, so you can use page 3 then, just that or just for reference.
All right, well, I'm gonna take 10/12/23 exhibit B is the presumably updated site plan. The rest will be 10/12/23 group exhibit C, and you can refer to them during the course of your presentation. You know, one more preliminary. I understand I have some sort of an email statement which is purports to be a petition, but is not in the form of a petition. It's a group of names. It's like a lot of names. And I cannot take it as a petition, but I'll make it part of the record because it's not in the form of petition. So I'll circulate it to members of the board who can peruse it during the course of the hearing. And then what is this? Oh, transcript, okay. Council, could you, well, go forward with your presentation and I'll try not to interrupt.
Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Andrew Smith from the Quick Trip, and then I'll follow up with statements before we conclude the case in chief.
Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Andrew Smith. I'm a real estate manager with Quick Trip. I've worked with Quick Trip for 15 years. I've been in real estate for the last roughly 8 or 9. For those of you who are not familiar with Quick Trip, it's a wonderful company to work for. I started the stores myself. Many of the people who work in the corporate offices at Quick Trip were promoted from within. We put a high value on retaining our employees long term. We in fact even offer.
I'm sure it's a spectacular company. We have a cutoff at 8 o'clock and a lot of people that want to make comments. So we stipulate to the fact that it's a great place to work.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. All right, well, moving on then to the actual agenda item here. I do want to kind of clarify the reason for the delay from the June hearing until now. Over the last 4 months, we've worked closely with a neighboring municipality, which we believe had concerns about our project. We are very close to coming to an agreement with this municipality on items that they requested to be changed, and we've offered concessions where we can, and also offered reasonable solutions and explanations on the other items. So we've had several meetings with this municipality over the last few months, and we're very excited about the progress we've made. We've also continued to work with IDOT, including revising our access for their latest letter. We've also got that resubmitted to IDOT. It's back in their hands as well. Previously, there was an objection from DuPage County Stormwater and Wetlands. We did have a pre-app meeting after our June hearing, which we then addressed all those concerns and left with both sides understanding how the project would work and that there were no concerns that would prevent the project from occurring on those grounds. So I would like to make a few clarifications to the ZBA agenda because I know that this is a continuance from the previous meeting. Things that have changed since last time. So the request, we are not rezoning the vacant piece of property that has previously been rezoned already to B2 and in the county zoning map is updated. One of the exhibits included in your packet is the very last one, exhibit G. This shows the corrected zoning map. This is on the county's website. The only part of the property that we are rezoning is the strip center piece, which is currently zoned R4. As far as we can tell, this has operated as a strip center for 30 to 40 years. At some point in the past, there was a lawsuit where the court ruled that that was a commercial property and allowed that use to remain. So that has already been litigated and passed and determined to be a commercial property. However, the court doesn't, as I understand it, does not have the authority to change the zoning. They can only allow use. So that's why the zoning remains, even though everybody knows that that's been a commercial property for a minimum of 30 to 40 years. Second, conditional use permits included reference to a car wash. That was one thing that we were exploring but didn't have final plans for, so we've agreed to exclude it from our plans at this time. If in the future we ever wanted to add it, we would just have to come back through this process. There'd be similar public hearing to add a car wash in the future. So no car wash is part of this plan. And then the exceptions, there were a number of variances that were requested. We've revised our plans to ensure that we only require one of those variances, and I believe it was letter C, which is the southern setback line. And the reason for that variance is because IDOT has control over Illinois 83, which determines where our driveway is allowed to be located, which means we have to locate as far south as possible for proper traffic flow from the intersection. That's a traffic safety concern. So any user that came forward would face that same situation. Additionally, we've got a few changes to our site plan. What your package shows is the latest and greatest site plan. And then if you go to exhibit, I believe it's E. Exhibit F. This shows the changes that we made in order to remove all of the variances. The only one remaining would be C, and that's that southern setback line. We also reduced our truck parking down to 5. We had, I believe, 10? Yeah, 10 previously. With that, we've been able to create a greater green space on the west side of our property to provide additional buffer between us and the nearby residents. The variances, and just so I want to clarify too, the setback variances that we were pursuing originally were so that we could locate closer to the intersection of 91st and 83. We heard loud and clear, even from some residents, that they had an issue with us pursuing variances, so we agreed to shift everything further to the southwest. Our intention was to create a greater buffer to the west of us. We're still happy to accommodate that, but we would require a variance on our front and or our east and north setback. So we would like to move things closer, but that required variances, which we were told would be an issue for approvals here. And then finally, the zoning map in the agenda is showed the old zoning map, which we do understand now that the vacant property has already been rezoned to commercial. So that is a commercial property. The corner piece is all that requires a rezoning at this time. We also adjusted our driveways from last time for IDOT comments. On 83, we went down to 2 driveways. The northernmost driveway now also has a deceleration lane, so the cars can pull off of 83 when they pull into the site. That was a requirement from IDOT, would be required of anybody at this location. Additionally, I know one concern that I've heard is that this is a truck stop. This is not a truck stop in the way that people typically think of that. We do not have any overnight facilities for trucks. We do not have any lounges. We do not have any showers or anything that you would find at your typical truck stop off of the interstate. The only truck stop feature that we have is just a small truck diesel offer to certain trucks that are already on the existing roadway. IDOT shows that there's 4,400 trucks a day in front of the site. Our use does not generate new traffic. We purely capture traffic that's on the existing roadway. For the definition of who we are and what we do, we're a convenience store. We're located for your convenience on your existing path to travel. Additionally, I did also want to point out, that the corner property was previously ruled by a judge that that was suitable for commercial. A CUP was previously approved on the southern property that included, I believe, fuel cells at the time, but that did not go forward. It was the decision of the applicant to not go forward, but that was approved previously. Our use is a very similar conditional use permit. However, because we include the corner piece, we actually provide a safer traffic pattern because we can get cars and trucks to the intersection so that they can use the signalized intersection to head north back to the interstate. Without including the corner piece, 100% of the traffic has to enter and leave directly to the state highway, which is a much less safe traffic pattern. Additionally, the variation that we are requesting, as I mentioned before, any user here would have to pursue the same variation because that southern setback is determined by where that access drive is aligned, and that's required by IDOT to be as far away from the signalized intersection as possible. So I will be here to answer any questions about our company and our use, and then I'll also pass it off to Nick Katikas, our zoning attorney.
I don't know how you intend to proceed, but I wasn't apparently very clear. Because this is a change and because we've had I don't know how many months of delay, I'd like an entirely new presentation. Not, you're gonna do that?
I'll do an overview along with this, speaking to the criteria for zoning change and conditional. use.
Yeah, okay.
I'll do
So why don't we, could we start with zoning change? Because that's the underlying issue.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, so again, for the record, my name is Nick Katikas, and I'm one of the attorneys working with Quick Trip on the entitlement process for the proposed station at 9200 South Kingery Highway. The subject property contains approximately 6.427 acres of land. The north portion of the property is approved with a one-story multi-tenant commercial building and accessory surface parking lot. The applicant, again, Quick Trip, is proposing to purchase the property and redevelop it with a new fueling station. The existing commercial building will be taken down. The proposed facility will have a total of 8 gas pumps located along the property's 91st Street frontage. It will have a retail store that will contain approximately 5,312 square feet of floor area and will be 20 feet in height. The station will also offer 3 truck fueling positions located on the south end of the property, shown on the site plan. In terms of the zoning approvals that are required, the applicant is seeking first a zoning map amendment and then a conditional use approval for plan development for the proposed station. With respect to the zoning amendment standards, the applicant believes all of the criteria have been met. The existing use, and so subsection A of the use standards is that the existing use of the subject property is significantly underutilized. The property is approved with a one-story retail building oriented toward the intersection of Kingery and 91st. The remainder of the property is vacant and unapproved. As Andrew pointed out, the existing retail shopping center is actually a non-conforming use based on the fact that it operates and exists on R4 zone property. Subsection B, the property contains over 800 linear feet of frontage along Kingery Highway, which is an active travel corridor. The property lends itself to a commercial use. The current zoning for the subject property, again, split R4 and B2, creates an issue that the zoning map amendment would resolve. The existing retail building is non-conforming, again, based on the underlying zoning district. And the proposed zoning map amendment would again create a uniform zoning district for the property and match not only providing consistent zoning for our property, but also match the zoning districts and uses that are established at the Speedway gas station across the street from the subject property. So there is a similar pattern or trend of development and underlying zoning districts at or around the subject property. Subsection C, the subject property lends itself to commercial use because of its large frontage along Kingery Highway. It's important to note that all 4 corner properties at the intersection of Kingery and 91st Street are improved with commercial uses. Again, the existing multi-unit building, the Walgreens to the north, McDonald's to the east, and the Speedway to the northeast. the subject property is not suited for R4 single-family home development because of its location along an active roadway and its proximity to the other similar commercial uses. With respect to subsection D, the trend or pattern of development in the subject area again lends itself to commercial uses. That position is supported by the fact that, again, all 4 properties are already improved with retail uses. There's also, again, a mix of zoning districts that are reflected on the zoning map. That's the last page of our submittal. The applicant is proposing to improve mostly unimproved vacant land with new commercial use that will support neighboring uses and serve customer demand in the subject area. With respect to subsection E, only a portion of the subject property again has been improved. A majority of the 6+ acre site has sat vacant for decades. It's also important to note that the property remained vacant while almost all of the surrounding property, both commercial and residential, began to be developed. Subsection F, the subject property is impacted by the split zoning district that allow the residential uses and retail uses, which again are typically found in different or differing zoning districts and are not currently supported by the current market conditions. Amending the underlying zoning district to establish a uniform zoning district and allow for a higher and better use of the property will certainly be a benefit to the property. With respect to the neighboring land uses, the proposed development of commercial property with commercial uses along a major roadway will not negatively impact surrounding property values. The applicant can point to the neighboring Speedway gas station, the Walgreens, and McDonald's as evidence of those uses not proving to diminish property values near residential uses. With respect to the conditional use standards, there are 6, and I'm going to do my best to get through them efficiently. The first is that the proposed site design will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to the property. As Andrew noted, our revised plans removed the deviations that were originally proposed, and with the exception of the setback along the south side of Kingery, the plan complies with the DuPage County Code. And the building and canopy will remain set back from the nearest neighbors to the west, so as not to impact light or an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property. The property will not increase the hazard from fire or other dangers. All of our improvements will be fully permitted, consistent with DuPage County and state of Illinois rules and regulations for the intended uses. The project will not diminish the value of land and buildings in the vicinity of the subject property. Again, our property is currently improved with a multi-tenant retail building. The majority of the 6+ acre site is vacant and unimproved. The applicant believes the investment and development of currently vacant and unused land will in fact benefit the surrounding area. With respect to standard 4, the proposed fueling center will not unduly increase traffic congestion in the public streets and highways. To the contrary, the proposed gas station and fueling center intends to serve existing vehicles that are already using Kingery Highway. To that point, according to the Illinois Department of Transportation, there are approximately 4,400 truck movements along this stretch of Kingery Highway each day. That same Illinois Department of Transportation record provides that there are approximately 24,700 vehicle movements on Kingery and an additional 4,900 movements on 91st Street. The vehicle and truck traffic already exists around the subject property. And again, the applicant intends to serve those motorists. Given the existing traffic, it's important to note that the traffic study submitted to IDOT concluded that the proposed access system will adequately accommodate the traffic estimated to be generated by the proposed fueling center and will ensure that efficient and flexible access is provided. With respect to standard 5, the project will not increase the potential for flood damage in the area because, again, our entire program will be fully engineered. Grading and civil engineering permits are part of our requirement. Moreover, and you can see this on the survey again, Exhibit A, our property actually sits anywhere between 8 and 10 feet below the neighboring residential properties to the west. So again, I think we could all agree that the likelihood of water running uphill is quite low. And frankly, it forces us to accommodate and account for the water runoff onto our property. Lastly, the conditional use will not incur or require additional public expense for fire protection, rescue, or relief. Again, this is a privately funded development. The proposed fueling station will not require any additional public expense for ongoing fire protection, rescue, or relief. Chairman, we did provide an overview. You have the plans. We spoke to the approval criteria. We also again have Louis Abuna, our traffic engineer, available to answer questions if there are any from the board. And at this time, our team stands ready to answer those questions.
Well, could we hear just briefly from Mr. Abuna? I didn't review the record to determine whether there is a traffic report, but customarily KLOA presents a traffic report. Was there a report submitted in June? Yeah, there is. Hi, Mr. Abuna.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
You submitted did you do a traffic study that was presented in June?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I believe I spoke regarding the traffic and answered a couple of questions as well.
Was there a written report?
Yes, we have prepared a written report, which has been since revised in response to IDOT's comments.
And what is the date of the original report?
I don't have that on me, Mr. Chairman. I apologize.
Well, it's just been handed to me.
Oh, there you go.
What is the date of the update? You know that?
Yeah, September 13th.
Okay, so and the update, did the update include new traffic counts?
No, it did not. It just reflected some of the comments that IDOT had, particularly regarding access on Route 83. So it was elimination of a curb cut and then modification to the full access to a 3/4 access. IDOT did not want the left turns out to occur on 83, so that access will only allow right in, right out, and left turns in.
All right, I've just been handed a KLOA report dated September 14, 2023. Council, is this a new exhibit you're offering?
So the first page is the email resubmittal to IDOT and then follow.
Exhibit or not?
Yes, yes.
And I've got a letter which looks like it's 4 or 5 pages long, and to that is attached the original report. Is that right?
That's the new report. That's the resubmittal to IDOT and the new report. So
So there is a new traffic study
it's an update. to
of
the previous-
30 or so pages. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, I mean, let's hear about it. And we'll take it as petitioners 10, 12, 23, exhibit 4.
Yeah.
All you're gonna do is say, well, everything's fine. We updated it.
Now, Louis, if you could maybe just take the commissioners through the updates and the conclusions that you arrived at.
Yeah, no problem. So essentially, like I said, the traffic study is an update to the original one. The updates were to reflect the comments that IDOT issued in reviewing the traffic study. They generally agree with the findings and the recommendations relative to deceleration lanes that we will be providing at the access drives, as well as the left turn lane on 83 at the 3/4 access. IDOT asked us to like I said, modify the original proposal where we proposed a full access on Route 83, and instead the driveway is going to be designed to accommodate movements, 3/4 movements, which is a right in, right out, and left turns in. We will be providing a left turn lane on Route 83 in accordance with IDOT's design requirements, 265 feet of storage, and we will be also providing deceleration lane on Route 83 at the access drive. Generally, the traffic study looked at the operations of the intersection of Route 83 and 91st Street. As we would normally do, we look at the weekday morning commuter time period and weekday evening commuter time period. And the analysis showed that the increase in traffic from the proposed development can generally be accommodated by the intersection and that the level of service will generally continue to operate under similar to what the intersection is operating today. The access drives, given their location and their design, will accommodate the traffic from the development. Cars will be able to enter and exit efficiently, similarly with the trucks. For the trucks, again, just to emphasize, similar to the presentation last time, the trucks will enter off Route 83. So they'll make the right in or the left in of Route 83, and then they will exit on 91st Street, going eastbound only. So the trucks will be restricted to make a right out only on 91st Street, and then utilize the signal to either turn left to go north on 83 or south on Route 83.
And as I look at the site plan, you maximize usage of the square footage of the site. There's, I see the parking. Do you know the number of parking spots that are provided for automobiles?
Chairman, it's 49 parking spaces based on the redesign. So want to make sure, and that's actually less than what was previously proposed. And that accommodates the changes to the site plan to provide sufficient, we think more than sufficient parking for the convenience store.
Okay, and Mr. Abuna, did you do an evaluation, given the sort of density of the site? Did you do an evaluation about the internal circulation with delivery trucks and fuel trucks and vehicles using the diesel pumps, and determine whether all of this sort of works safely?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we reviewed the auto turn exhibits, the truck turning exhibits that the civil engineer prepared. And those do show that the site has been designed to adequately and safely accommodate all these maneuvers, not only on site, but also in and out of the site.
Well, I think you're gonna need a choreographer. I mean, I don't know, you're the expert, but it looks complicated to me.
Well, I'm not, I don't know, Andrew, do you have those exhibits by any chance?
No, we don't have those exhibits with us. We can get them to the board easy enough, but I mean, really, it's a pretty simple traffic pattern through the site. All trucks would enter at the southernmost point of the site. That's the easiest path in. They would then fuel at the diesel pumps, and then they would make their way to 91st and get back to the signalized intersection and turn either north or south.
But with visitors to the site, I get the fact that it's a convenience center, and I live on the other end of the county. I'm not going to drive there to, sort of buy a cup of coffee in the morning. So it is a site that will heavily rely on traffic that is already at that location. But once you enter this location, like I say, it's a complicated circulation to me. It seems that your testimony is, yeah, it's pretty simple. The trucks kind of pull in this way and exit in a certain way, but isn't there some inherent danger with the intensity of all the parking and the visitors to the fuel pumps, and the truck visitors and deliveries, and then regular automobiles visiting the fuel sites? You're convinced that all works?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, yes. I mean, this is a well-designed site. This is very typical of these type of facilities. The truck fueling area is removed from the remainder of the site, the passenger vehicles have direct access on 91st Street, as well as the right in, right out that is immediately adjacent to the convenience store. You know, and again, the truck circulation is going to be one way clockwise. So the trucks will enter at the south end, and then they would exit directly onto 91st Street. Yes, we I feel it's very efficient, and again, it's very consistent with the design of these kind of facilities.
We know, can we talk about the number of visitors in these various categories at a peak time? You know, during the day, do you have any read on that? How many visitors to the store? How many visitors to the fuel pumps? How many trucks? How many deliveries during peak times?
Yeah, Louis during peak times has to provide those estimates, so he didn't speak, but he's private.
Is that in here?
Yes, it's in the traffic study, but I'll pass that to Louis since he's.
Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, as far as the convenience store and the fuel pumps, I mean, those numbers are, as we generate them in the traffic study based on the data that we use, it's kind of combined. So it doesn't really separate how many, you know, are using the pump versus how many using the convenience store or both. You know, so as far as those numbers are concerned, the estimate is about 250 cars that would come in the morning during the morning peak hour, and about 215 in the evening peak hour. As far as the commercial fueling lanes, the diesel lanes, we typically estimate about 4 per lane, so we're looking at about 16 trucks per hour.
To clarify Louis' point there too, those are trips to the actual site, not new trips to the intersection.
That is correct. That is correct. I have to point that out. And Mr. Chairman, you indicated that too. I mean, these type of you know, facilities rely heavily on the existing traffic on the roadway system. So typically 70% is already there. So people are passing by the site. You know, they could, you know, just make a right in, you know, fill up, go to the convenience store, and then make a right out. So on the roadway system, they don't appear as a new trip. At the driveway, they'll appear as a trip. But yes, the majority, particularly during the rush hour, those are pass-by trips. They're already on the roadway system, so they're really not additive to what's out there today.
Yeah, but there's two issues. I get the fact that you're not likely adding any significant traffic to the roadway systems, but the internal circulation seems to me to be an issue. Where do you get the numbers that you suggested would be hourly visits to the site? Are those your calculations? Did you get them from the petitioner, or is it some sort of a standard in your modeling?
It's a standard in our industry, Mr. Chairman, for all the other traffic studies that you have reviewed in the past that we have prepared and other traffic consultants have prepared. We use you know, trip generation rates that are published in the industry and are accepted by all the reviewing agencies. You know, IDOT, for example, that reviewed this traffic study, accepted those numbers. You know, DuPage County DOT, when we do traffic studies that requires their review, they also approve of these numbers. So this is kind of numbers that have been accepted by all reviewing agencies that are widely used in our industry and very well represent, very, you know, representative of the traffic generation of these type of uses.
Okay. Well, I don't have any more questions of you, Mr. Laguna. It's good to see you again. Thank you for your
You're welcome.
assistance. Are there any traffic questions that any member of the board has for Mr. Laguna? Okay, I don't see anybody jumping up, so would you proceed then?
Yeah, I would like to just kind of piggyback on the last couple of points here. As far as the internal circulation goes, it's not in our best interest to have an unsafe site because our customers stop with us daily and they get used to stopping with us. And in our industry, if you're not safe and efficient, then people will learn pretty quickly they don't want to stop with you. And so we've been in business for over 65 years now. We have perfected our site plans, and the way that we have all of our dimensions laid out are a very strict criteria. You'll see some of the driveways around the site are, 30 to 35 feet. Typical standard drive aisles in most uses are, 24 feet. So we've already kind of accounted for those peak hour periods to make sure that we can still operate in a safe and efficient manner. And when you look at these site plans, they're zoomed out, especially with a longer site like this, these dimensions look like they're pretty small, but some of them are actually pretty healthy dimensions, especially compared to what you see at other users. For instance, like there's an 80-foot dimension between the what's called the stop bar and the convenience store, and then there's another 90 feet from that to the diesel pumps, and then there's a 75-foot lane, and then 90 feet beyond. So there's a wide stretch of pavement there for those truckers to make the turning movements throughout the site to make sure that they don't cause congestion within our property. We also have over 1,000 units across the country. So we have a good idea of what each of our stores are going to do as far as our performance goes. And so we design them to make sure that we're accommodating that at our peak hours because we know that that's important to have a safe and efficient site.
Okay, well, that's a good point. If you're suggesting that you've modeled this site after others of your properties and those other properties work, I trust your experience, but do you have any other sites that you could suggest to us that we might visit to, see for ourselves?
Yeah, we have a limited number in the Chicago area right now, but yeah, all across the country, I can find you a dozen site plans. They're driving there. Yeah, exactly.
And, I presume that people from DuPage County drive the same way as the rest of the country, but I'm not certain of that either. So, okay, what else do you have for us?
Yeah, I think that hits the key points. I just want to kind of reiterate too, that the rezoning, like we mentioned before, is limited just to the corner where the strip center is. The vacant property is already zoned commercial. At any time a commercial user could come in there and if they did not connect to the intersection at 91st Street, all of their traffic would have to enter and exit directly from the state highway, which would be a much, much worse traffic concern. And also, if you had a user that truly generates traffic, like we had said, the majority of our traffic is passed by trips, which is on the existing roadway. So if you had a hotel, a restaurant, things like that, that people go out of their way to go specifically to that use, you're now bringing new traffic to the area instead of capturing what's already there.
Okay, do you have a zoning map someplace that can show precisely, you've made some general references to the area that is subject to the request for rezoning.
Exhibit G here, it's the very last page.
Okay, I'm losing my exhibits here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got it.
So I've highlighted the southwest corner in black. That's where our petition is. The corner you'll see is zone R4. That's the strip center. The vacant property is zone B2. The northwest corner is zone B1. The northeast corner is already zone B2, which is what we're seeking in our corner. And then across the street is Village-Burr Ridge zoning, and that is also zone B2. So our corner having a residential piece is really the oddball of the group. And it's operated as a strip center for 30 to 40 years.
Right, and the council, could you just, there's been some general reference to the court order here. Do you have any more information for us about that?
No, it was a point of conversation, not only pre-application or part of our conversations with staff. But the question was asked, how did the strip center get there? And in doing our due diligence, we confirmed with staff that there had been a prior lawsuit filed against DuPage regarding that property, the commercial use of that property, even though it was zoned R4. Ultimately, it's our understanding the judge in that case allowed the retail commercial use to proceed as a non-conforming use. So now we're coming in as a change of use, but we're coming in and we're trying to create that uniform B2 district.
And did that relate to the entirety of the site, or?
It only related, as best we can tell, Chairman, it only related to the strip center, the commercial strip center at the corner.
Right.
And that the zoning district line that appears on the map aligns with essentially the rear building wall of the strip center. So it seems to point us to that conclusion.
And the court order that you're referring to is decades old, if I'm.
Yes, sir. It was way, yes, we're talking probably 40,
Yeah,
approximately 40 years ago. It's certainly because that strip center's been there for decades.
okay. All right, nothing else for your,
Unless there are other questions, we'd be happy. There's nothing else for our case in chief. We'd be happy to answer
well,
questions.
I think that, I'd like to, just for the sake of courtesy to the audience, I think maybe we ought to go to the audience for comment. How many people here want to make a statement or ask a question or testify one way or the other about the case? Well, they're not too many. Could you all stand and be sworn in, and then we'll go over the order of the presentation in a moment.
Would you raise your right hands, please? You do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this cause now hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Okay, thanks. I recognize Ms. Painter, and I know, without asking, is there anyone here who represents a group? I don't know if you represent anybody officially, but I know you represent by virtue of your office, so would you like to go first? And then I'll take anyone who represents a group, but if you tell me.
There are others that represent groups. I'm representing Kimberly. But
Okay,
there's a
go ahead.
school district and there's.
You can go right ahead. Let me tell you why, while Ms. Painter goes to the microphone. If I say, well, I'm a member of the homeowners association, and I think this is how the homeowners association feels, that doesn't count as representing a group. You have to be here in your official capacity representing some, 20 people or an association or whatever, okay? So we'll recognize Ms. Painter, a frequent flyer for us. Oh, and I have a petition as well. Oh, sign-in sheet. Oh, is this the, do we have a sign-in sheet? Exhibits, how do you want to mark them? Painter exhibit 1, 2, 3? Okay.
Okay, Chairman Carthal and the members of the Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Linda Painter. I am president of Timberlake Civic Association, which is in an unincorporated area in Willowbrook, located north of 91st Street. That way, and no, the other way. So this is.
We'll deal with it.
That's an 83, and this is 91st. So those are the two streets, Route 83 and 91st Street are the two streets in question. We have, I'm president of the homeowners association, and we have 780 single family houses. In our quarterly meeting, which took place on September 5th, 2023, a vote was taken directing me to attend this public hearing and represent Timberlake in opposition to the Quick Trip's request to change the zoning to property to B2 and the variances in setbacks and the variances for the 77.7 square foot pole sign. My comments will summarize the many reasons that the residents here tonight are opposing the zoning change and variances. Individual speakers will expand on the various topics. 1, the zoning change. By allowing the zoning change, it would allow trucks to enter 91st Street, which would severely affect our community, and that we will show by testimony that will affect 91st Street. Having trucks on 91st Street will affect it. 91st Street is a resident, that's this little street, is a residential street. It's a township highway or township road with 1 lane in each direction with a 5-ton weight limit. So there should be no trucks on 91st Street, period, because there's a 5-ton weight limit for the extent from Route 83 all the way to Cass, that there aren't supposed to be any 5-ton weight limit trucks. Number 3, 91st Street is also part of the Southern DuPage regional bike route right along the north side of the proposed gas station entrance and exit. So this is where they want to put the entrance and exit over here on 91st Street. This here This here is, and we have. This here is the Southern DuPage Regional Bike Route. So along 91st Street, it goes along 91st Street. And that's exactly where they want to put the entrance and exit of the semis. And that has a 5-ton weight limit. So it's along the Southern DuPage Regional Bike Route. And I'm, as a commissioner, I have proposed and have advocated for connecting bike routes throughout the county, and this is one of them. There's also so here's the trail signs that are there. And on this side, there's your 5-ton weight limit sign. And also there is a sign that says state law, motorists must give 3-foot minimum clearance to the bikes that are on the road. So how, when you're gonna put a semi truck onto 91st Street and making turns onto this little 2-lane road with bikes and children, then they'll expand on that. I don't know how that's supposed to happen safely. There's already a lot of congestion at that traffic corner. And by adding more trucks and cars is going to be a disaster waiting to happen. There will be a decrease in property values to the homes to the west of the facility that will have running trucks directly under their bedroom windows and lights shining in their windows 24/7. That's right here. These are homes. And that's where you want to have the parking of the trucks 24/7 there. And they're going to be, trucks don't turn off. They keep them running and they rumble. And that's going to be right under those people's window, their bedroom windows with lights shining. This is, and getting back to, I like Quick Trip. I actually go, I have their mug, I have their app, but when I go to them, they're in the middle of Southern Illinois, in the middle of nowhere. This is a residential area where we have lots of homes, lots of people. The population here is way higher than anything where I've seen Quick Trip located. Some of the local merchant stores would be torn down if they change that zoning and give this to what they want to do. These people have been there for decades and they serve our community. School District 180 is split by Route 83 on 91st Street. So this is 180, District 180 has their grade school over here, and their junior high is on the other side of 83. School buses are going up and down 91st Street. Families are going up and down 91st Street with children going back and forth to school. I can't even imagine if you have trucks coming out of here, how that's going to impact the schools are being able to access Route 83. There's a new Muslim school on this side, and they'll talk to that, where children cross the street. The changes to IDOT by putting the turn lane that they're proposing will cause more accidents on Route 83. It's a 55-mile-an-hour speed zone, and needless to say, people go faster than that. It's going to be very dangerous to have semis entering and exiting off of Route 83 when trucks and cars are driving in excess of 55 miles an hour without proper acceleration lane. So they want to put, my understanding is they want to put the deceleration lane here, but they have to put the right turn lane coming out of here. How are they going to do that without, on a right angle turn, without an acceleration lane and being able to stay in one lane? This is a big semi truck. How do they not go into the second lane of traffic that are going 65, possibly, I will say 55 miles an hour? How are they going to be able to make that turn and accelerate fast enough that they're not going to cause an accident? The signs, let's talk about signs. The signs, they want 2 signs They want variances for the signs. They want to make one 77.7 square feet. Historically, Timberlake has been so opposed to signs. We've been here before on that.
I think that's been withdrawn.
The signs altogether?
No, the variances for the signs, right, council?
Correct.
Okay, so no changes in the signs. Okay. We're very against pole signs. If you want to have a little one down below, we're not opposed to that. And we do not need to have 3 gas stations because there's another gas station going in right there. So there'll be 3 gas stations on our corner. We don't need that. That's not going to enhance our community. It's only going to be detrimental. And there's going to be a huge, it's in the process, it's being worked on now. 2 or 3 stoplights to the south. There's going to be a massive truck stop and car wash and all the things that they're going to have down there. So in conclusion, the building of a 3rd gas station on the corner of 91st and Route 83 will not enhance our community. It will only be detrimental. So please vote no on the zoning change and any of the variances they're requesting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's have the. Of your exhibits.
Yeah, am I take one? Yeah.
Well, we can't take it unless it's an exhibit. All right, this is Painter exhibit, what, 4?
Excellent.
All right, can I ask the people who,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just because there are a number of speakers, do we get a chance to respond?
oh, absolutely.
Do you want us to respond after the speaker, or do you want us to wait for the end? I'm worried.
If a speaker has a question in the nature, the cross-examination standards, then you'll have to answer at the time.
Okay.
But,
there were
Other-
some factual inconsistencies, so
I
I
get
just
it,
want to
right.
make sure we have a chance to.
but you need to keep notes and then give us your response at the end. Okay, now for the people who represent groups, can I ask you to queue up here? I don't know how many there are. 1, 2, sir, were you sworn in? Yeah, I wasn't looking over there. You were sworn in too? All right, so this is the groupings. I don't care who goes first. If you have, please indicate as the beginning of your remarks. And like I say, those who represent groups, I'll give you a little more than the 3 minutes, but I don't want any repetitive remarks, okay? Because a lot of people we get in. No. All right, sir, name, spell your last name, give us your address, tell us who you represent, and then tell us whether you object or support, and then make your remarks, okay?
Okay, thank you. My name is Hassan Ali, last name Ali. I'm serving as Imam and Religious Director of the Mecca Center, across the street from the proposed project. And I propose rejection of this project. Chairman and respected board members, we heard like 250 cars in the peak times, and I can tell you that I drive every day on 91st Street many times, and 91st Street as is not even safe to add more cars. And I can't even imagine have more cars and trucks passing every day and every night by this very tiny street. We have in this very special corner on Illinois 83, Route 83 and 91st Street, something that's already busy intersection for Annie Jeans Elementary School. I'm also a board member of Hinsdale Community Service, which is a food pantry providing services to hundreds of families every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we serve many people who come on 91st Street, cross street from Mecca Center on Annie Jeans Elementary School parking lot to get their food. Most of them are elderly people every Wednesday. Also, I can speak perhaps for a second on behalf of our very special interfaith corner. This is a very special place. Last Thursday, we received a respected delegations from different places in the world coming to this very special area for interfaith allied. They call it the interfaith corner. People from China, pastors from Germany, pastors from India, coming to visit this very special place to see how it's beautiful in this very special corner that we have Mecca Center and we have the Burhani Dawoodi Mosque. We have the Orthodox church, the Macedonian church, and also we have the Buddha Meditation Center. All of them are in the same corner. So I strongly oppose the establishment of this project. This decision poses a significant risk to the safety and the well-being of our children, our elderly, our youth, and our places of worship, and our schools as well. And of course, the community at large. We must prioritize the safety and educational environment of our students and the peace of our community. So please protect our neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If you hold your applause, it just really is unproductive. Go right ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Linda Esposito, Esposito. I live at 10 South 437 Carrington Circle in unincorporated DuPage. And as you can see by the site plan here, I represent the townhomes specifically that would be dramatically affected by this truck stop, as well as some of the other neighboring businesses and communities. I have, as an exhibit for you, 242 signatures on petitions opposing the truck stop. In addition to the signed petitions, there is an online petition that as of this evening has over 2,300 signatures on it. I downloaded the petition this morning and I do have it on a thumb drive in here, but it's far exceeded what is currently on the thumb drive. I do have two quick questions for a quick trip.
Okay, well, hold on. Are you presenting? I've already referred to these list of names. It's not in proper petition form, but we'll make it part of the record and I'll take your testimony as to its effect. But are you offering another formal petition?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want any thumb drives because
Okay, that's
that can't
fine.
be a part of the record. But give us your
Right.
give us your exhibit.
Okay, and just in conclusion, I have two quick questions. According to the DuPage conditional use bullet points, you answered 6 out of the 7. The 7th bulletin point refers to a nuisance to the community. It refers to a variety of other items that address the environment as a whole, and those were not addressed anywhere in your report. And lastly, you talk about a deceleration lane so that people could put the brakes on and get into the truck stop. However, there is no notice of an acceleration lane, and that is, I think, even more critical. When you've got trucks coming out and you've got cars coming out and people are zooming through the stoplight. So if those two things could be answered, that would be helpful. Thank
You
you.
can answer those now. I can. And can I take? Oh, Paul, you have it.
So again, for the record, Nick Patikas, we did do a summary of all of the standards. If I overlooked one, I apologize. With respect to nuisance, we don't believe that developing undeveloped, currently vacant and undeveloped land with the use consistent with neighboring uses would create a nuisance. Again, we have testimony in the record that the proposed gas station is going to rely on and provide a convenience to existing vehicles on the roads at the subject property. With respect to the environmental conditions, there was a small portion of wetland that was identified on the survey. Our site design was basically worked around that to preserve it and not interrupt it. And again, not only do the plans, the engineering as well as our summary address that. If I overlooked that in my statements, I apologize. But happy to answer any other questions related to this conditional use or rezoning standards. And then with respect to deceleration and acceleration, I want to remind the board that we, through our traffic consultant and also through the applicant, have been working directly with IDOT to find the right, not only location for driveways for access, but also the deceleration lane and acceleration lane, which would cause or allow for faster traffic, was not something that was contemplated by IDOT and not incorporated into our plan accordingly. So the deceleration lane to allow that turn in to the store from Kingery was a condition from IDOT and one that's been incorporated into our plan. I want to make sure that that's also clear for the record.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next speaker.
Hello, my name is Amanda Frankel, Frankel. I am the president of the Board of Education for CCSD 180. We are a 2-school district. We have one school that you can just see the edge of our building right here. It's about 380 meters, I believe, from the entrance, the proposed entrance here. That's our elementary school. We have pre-K, Head Start through 4th grade at that location. Our district is actually split by this proposal, as Linda had mentioned. So this is your proposal here, 83, and our middle school is on the opposite side. We have our middle schools 5th through 8th grade. We have about 500 children in our 2 schools together. The majority of our students live in the apartments, condos, and townhomes that are behind NMG's elementary school. These are some of them that you can see here, but there are thousands upon thousands of people that live here. This, by the way, has, I think, a 0 variance right here, a cushion, right? The majority of our elementary students walk to and from school, and our middle school children generally take a bus unless they miss the bus, in which case they have to walk. They cannot walk up Route 83. So they live here, they cut through our parking lot here, and they walk along 91st Street. They can't walk up 83. There's no sidewalk. It's poorly lit, and it's 55 miles an hour. So it's really just untenable. There will be additional truck traffic because the only exit that they have proposed for trucks is right here, turning right out of this area right here. Our school buses come down this 2-lane road. So the traffic study that was done was actually performed, I believe, on a Thursday, and it was done at, he said rush hour morning and night, but that's not rush hour after school. So when there's one bus here trying to turn left, it's already a nightmare. Any trucks going northbound would block off both sides of that road. Our district started as you've been in business 65 years. We've been there since 1910 in the same location. And it's now Burridge Middle School. And we have worked really, really hard to be the keystone of our community. We educate our children, but we also meet the needs of all of our families. And to that end, we have additional services outside of just schooling our children that we provide to the community. Many of them walk, but our services also, as the mom mentioned, create additional traffic flow. We have after-school programming every single day by the community house. We have a free clinic in the evening in our school. Through Pillars Healthcare that gives physicals and vaccinations. Through SAMS, we offer specialty health clinics to community members in the evening. We have a food pantry, as he mentioned, every Wednesday night, run by HCS. And that, as I said, that's Wednesday night. And then the medical center, which is really our very best neighbor, has prayer services and sometimes uses our parking lot in the evenings and the Walgreens parking lot, which is here. And then they walk along this road, this 2-lane road, which if you see here, there's no shoulder. They walk along this in the evening. We have no sidewalk and no shoulder. We're doing the best we can, but increased traffic would really be a nightmare. And it would be very unsafe. Last week, our Board of Education adopted a resolution and we filed it with the county clerk in opposition to the Quick Trip building their spot there. We've never done this before. We ask you reject this proposal and stand with our children of our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you. Now, could I ask another group to sort of queue up if you were sworn in and if you want to continue to make a statement? To the extent that you want to offer new information, I'll permit that, of course. But to the extent that you agree with a prior speaker, you could just simply say, I agree with a prior, whichever prior speaker, all prior speakers. And I'm particularly concerned about traffic or whatever. So were you sworn in?
Yes, it was.
Okay, now, everybody, name, spell your last name for the court reporter. Then tell us your address, and it would be helpful if you, we don't know the addresses, so if you say, and so I'm 5 minutes from the site, or I live in this neighborhood, or I'm wherever, or I live on the other end of state of Illinois, and I'm just here to make a fuss. So we need to know who you are as it relates to this particular parcel. Then make your remarks.
And you do want the address.
Yeah, okay.
My name is Steve Delurgio. That's DELURGIO. I live at 10S238 Oregon Ridge Road, about 1 mile from the site. I had a presentation going from 10 semi truck parking spots to 5 has reduced my presentation. I have a couple of questions. I hope that's appropriate of the petitioner. First off, let me mention, in my profession, we have a phrase, all models have error. Some are useful. Not all, some are useful. So I don't know the appropriateness, well, I'm not worried about that. But I would be interested to understand the analysis that's being done. Okay, and that may be very unusual. But some nonlinear, well, they're using some form of analysis.
Are you
And
talking about the traffic model?
the traffic model, yes, thank you. Yeah,
Okay, for KLOA.
yeah, we'll just see what happens there. Non-linearities in these models can just blow everything out of the way.
I don't know, I'm having trouble understanding precisely your question.
Okay, my question is, could we receive at least a description of the analysis that they're doing? Okay. And
Well, you can
some,
have a copy of the traffic study.
okay, let me look at that.
Okay.
And I didn't find that originally. I don't know if it's on the web.
Well, it's just been submitted to
Okay.
me, and I think that with the original traffic study it's been in the record since June.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, I have a question about whether traffic that might come from I-55 goes south. As I measured it, the site we're talking about is only 2 to 3 minutes and less than 2 miles away for trucks traveling north or south on I-55. Now, the 2 to 3 minutes is not during rush hour, okay? But we see it all the time. We see trucks, I-55 is full. We see trucks all the time taking frontage road and actually 91st, which cannot handle, not supposed to have. So, and then it turns out that 294 is only 5 miles away. Are those trucks precluded from changing their route to use this quick trip facility?
I don't get it. We're not gonna put up a sign on 294 that says don't go to Kingery Highway.
Right, but we will get some overflow.
Look, let me, I'm not an expert. I've seen a lot of traffic studies. Traffic studies take counts of the immediate area, but they don't account for where that traffic comes from, whether it's from 294 or whatever. So I think that's it's a little, I don't know. I think it's a little immaterial where they come from.
Well, it may or may not be. It may or may not be. We can see an awful lot of dollars.
I'll accept
Yeah.
your point that we're in the proximity of some major feeder highways, but all of that has been accounted for presumably in the traffic study from KLOA.
I doubt it.
Okay, maybe not.
Uh, how long will trucks be allowed to run? And how long will they be at the site?
Well, those are conditions that we can put on if this passes. There wasn't any testimony about that.
That's pretty well it. I had, my greatest concern previously was regarding, crime at the, behind the site. I walked them, there's 75 multi-family buildings contiguous with the site. Okay, and we've had some difficulty there, but I'll hold off on that. Okay, to take it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, person. And I don't remember who was sworn in and who was not, so when you begin, would you also add right after your name, and I was sworn in?
Hello, my name is Rick Wagner, and yes, I was sworn in. My address is 9441 South Jackson. It's approximately about a quarter mile south of the proposed site, just on the other side of Route 83. So if you look at this map, I'm like right here, okay? So the first comment I'd like to make is about business overlap a little bit. Currently, we have 3 service stations between I-55 and Bluff Road. Okay, so those are the Shell station to the north. It's the Speedway station on 91st Street, and it's the Clark station that's on Bluff Road and Route 83. So with the authorization of the Thornton's gas station, and now the new gas and wash, what's going to be going up there 2 miles to the south, and with this one, we go from 3 service stations to 6 gas stations in that area. So the last comment, the other comment I want to make is, no, I didn't hear anything about saving vegetation, green space, or trees. Like I said, I live right basically across the street from there. There's a grove of 15 to 20 mature oak trees. I didn't hear any conversation about saving any of that vegetation or anything like that. I'm sure that those trees are right where the equals on the site map, like right there. So I feel sorry for the people that live in these townhomes. They're gonna have to deal with all that, all those things. And, that's a big concern for me. The last thing is that, we talk about traffic studies. I'll give you one traffic study that I have. And it's, since I'm under testimony, I can tell you that on two occasions that I've seen people die on Route 83 in front of the Maddie's restaurant because there's all the apartments and guys, the traffic comes out of the apartments and you have 55 mile an hour traffic, 65 mile an hour traffic. You're adding to all that. Just recently, maybe a month ago, there's a Waffles restaurant. I saw a car just and end up rolling right in front of the Waffles restaurant. It's just, there's just too much going on. And so I have a mental picture in my head. You can do all the traffic studies you want. All I can say is when you add more to this, it's not going to be a good thing. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Next, this.
Good evening, my name is Joanne Kripel, Krypel. I was sworn in. I live at 10 South 721 Jackson Street in Burr Ridge. I have a couple of things I do want to bring up, and one is crime. I went and spoke to the Speedway employees, the 124/7 gas station that we already have on that corner, and asked them, about their experience, right? With it being the only 24/7. They have a plexiglass shield that they can pull down and they do it at dark and lock it from the inside. So the only transactions that can happen are through that cashy thing, whatever that's called. Right? And I said, well, how often do you call 911? All the time. What does all the time mean? Oh, twice a week. So I decided to check that out and I talked to the FOIA representative from DuPage County Sheriff. I asked him for statistics, how many calls were made between January and the end of August. And he got me those numbers. He said, now you need to give me the exact phone number for the Quick Trip. You need to give me the exact Speedway, my bad. You have to give me the exact street address. And he pulled those numbers for me. And it was 47, which I thought was low for 8 months. So I wrote him back and said, do we have the right date parameters? And he said, yes, we do, but keep in mind that does not include the clerk picking up their cell phone and calling 911, not wanting to go back to wherever the landline is that's in the store. That doesn't count someone in the parking lot calling 911 and saying, I'm at 91st and 83 without an address. So I asked him what he thought would be a good estimate, and he said double it. That means 94 911 calls from the one existing 24/7 gas station that's on that corner. That is twice a week. They were right at Speedway. Now, a truck stop by its own community provides even more opportunity for mischief. Have we seen a security plan? How many security cameras are they? Where are they located? How many clerks are there working overnight? There is no line of sight, at least from the original plan, directly from the store to where the parking takes place. Are you planning to sell alcohol? Have we heard anything about that? Who monitors those cameras? Is this an off-site vendor that monitors the cameras? Is there a panic button inside the store so the clerk can lock the store from the inside if there's shenanigans going on in the parking lot? Where the trucks are parking at night. Carjackings. I did some research on this. There have been 6 in the area in the last year, including one at a Quick Trip where a person died. So what these all had in common, 5 of the 6 had in common, at a gas station, on a highway, access to an expressway, armed after midnight. So I think we should definitely bring more of that into the area. The one point that the
Kind of move it along a bit.
yes, of course. The one point that the gentleman did not address of the 7 things for the conditional use permit, they may not otherwise impair public health, safety, comfort, morals, general welfare of the inhabitants of DuPage County, or create a nuisance. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, honorable board members. My name is Dr. Yuri Alkaled, AL-KHALED. I live in 94014 Water Drive West, and that's in the Village. It's literally across the street behind McDonald's. It's not where I live.
You were sworn in.
I have sworn in, sir. Thank you. I kept hearing about statistics. I kept hearing about the number of traffic and deceleration and acceleration. I also agree with all the previous people who rejected the project. What I want to point out only one point. As it was mentioned, that there is a free clinic that's being done in our area. That's run by Syrian American Medical Society, which is an international NGO, meaning non-for-profit organization that takes care of people who don't have the money and they cannot take care of themselves. They don't have medication. My group that I had in the south side of Chicago is composed of 22 providers. My cardiologists have relentlessly been helping in the Syrian American Medical Society, not only in our neighborhood, but also across the world. So every time there's a clinic that happened, there is a cardiologist. Most of the time it's one of my cardiologists. That in addition, my daughter was an OB/GYN doctor. She's also volunteering time in that clinic. Now, this clinic is to service people who do not have insurance, who cannot afford medication. And it was mentioned before that there is an area here that patients live under the poverty line and then they live under the state assistance. All those people, including old people with congestive heart failure that cannot walk long distances, people with coronary artery disease that have chest pain every time they walk. And interestingly, underprivileged pregnant young women who come across, and they come down that way because they don't want to go across walking into 83rd Street. They come down way the same way as the children walk to come walking 91 and come to the free clinic. Now, like that fast, people with shortness of breath, people with chest discomfort, they take their time to walk. The younger pregnant women, they also take their time to walk. They all come for this free clinic. I really encourage the board to look into not only the fact of how many cars are coming in, how many deceleration and acceleration is happening, but here you have people and a whole full of community members who tell you we feel insecure about having this truck stop here. We feel unsafe. We feel unhealthy. This is a residential area. It is not somewhere in Timbuktu on a highway that's around it. Everybody is almost rejecting that project. I would appreciate very much look at what the people want, not only what corporate America wants. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Irene Kapustina. It's Kapustina. I live at 9S 525 Allison Court in Willowbrook, and I have been sworn in. And I'm here to speak as a community member of multiple communities because, you know, to me, it's mind-boggling that we have done studies and lots of things about traffic, but we haven't studied the community in which this traffic stop is, this truck stop is going to be built. It's not in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of very busy lives of people. So my highlight of the day is going to 7 Stars and grabbing a hot pie out of the brick oven that has been baked by an auntie who knows the names of my children and gives them free candy every time we walk in. And that shop is going to be demolished by the truck stop. These businesses in the strip mall have been built by blood and sweat of the immigrant families that have been working for those businesses for years. And these are the businesses that give me and my family a sense of community, sense of roots, sense of belonging. And we do not need another industrialized corner. And we, as it is, are struggling to feel a sense of neighborhood in our community. More so, I also belong to the Mecca Center. And also my husband, by the way, is a physician who's volunteering in one of those health clinics through SAMS. He's Syrian. I'm a member of the Mecca Center where my family worships, where I volunteer a lot, where my children are participating in after school programs. I want to give you a glimpse into our life as a community that is very busy. Okay, Mecca Center has a lot. It's just not a mosque. It's a community center. It's a community center that is interconnected with all other institutions around. We have Sunday school, Quran Institute, pre-K kindergarten program, girls and Boy Scouts, lectures, workshops, seminars that are ongoing, and the mosque is full to the brim. On Friday, during our obligatory Friday prayer, 1,000 people between the time of 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. drive to the mosque. Where do they go? They park in the parking lot of the mosque. They park near Walgreens. They park near the neighborhood, and then a lot of them are walking. They're walking on foot from along the street. You know, I have considered. Actually, I live walking distance from the mosque. I've considered walking on 91st. I have triple stroller. Okay, I have very small children. I can't fit my triple stroller safely on 91st Street. How can you have a truck driving there? I can't walk to the mosque with my triple stroller there. So, you know, to me, it's incredible that now we will have also the truck stop will bring hundreds of strangers to our neighborhood. We have children roaming around the Moss grounds freely. We have playgrounds. The church has after-school programs. We constantly cross the street for interinstitutional programs with the school. I mean, to me, it's really undermining the very fabric of our community and as a construct of a community where we're really desperately trying to build. And it makes me unsafe. It makes so many of our community members unsafe. It creates fatally dangerous traffic. And I just deeply opposed to the construction of this truck stop. And I hope that the board will hear us out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Ammar Bogoda, Abogoda. I was sworn in. I own one of those townhouses, and I've been living there for almost 7 years. And I want to say that I really can't imagine a semi-truck coming out of this small area and blocking this already very busy intersection. I mean, trying to get out of the circle, sometimes it takes me a few minutes waiting when there is a lot of traffic coming out of the medical center where I go to pray. I'm also a member of that community. When there is the school rush hour, this intersection really cannot take a semi-truck. This is the bottom line. So I agree with everyone who spoke against this project. I appeal to you to reject it. I want to say that having a gas station for trucks right here is a big mistake for the community, and it will eventually fail. So I live here. Like I said, for 7 years, my son is buying a house on the east of Kingery. So I cannot imagine a truck gas station between me and my son. This is too much. This is not, again, this is a very busy community and it doesn't need this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sir, I think we have the picture that there are some folks here that think there's no need to have a gas station, truck stop, and there's some congestion which will impact the area. So if that's your point, could you just summarize it or suggest that you agree with that point? Somebody else? No, I'm not speaking about you in particular. All right, sir, go right ahead.
Good evening. My name is David Sang. I've been sworn in. My address is 10 South 409 Carrington Circle.
Can you spell your last name, please?
P-S-A-N-G.
Thank you.
Okay, and my address is actually right here. I have the front row seat in the proposed activity of this truck station. Now, everybody already mentioned about traffic, so I'm not going to beat that dead horse. My concern is health. My concern is environmental contamination and exposure. Because with diesel and gasoline, it's a mixture of chemical, including a list of volatile hydrocarbons. And that means it's vaporized. It's in the air. That's on its own already an environmental pollutant. It could be carcinogenic. However, in the summertime when it's hot, the hydrocarbon actually interact with the environment and form ozone. And I'm sure everybody here heard about ozone. We don't need more of that. I don't need to suck in more of that, neither do my neighbor. So I think having a truck station here is going to be detrimental to this community. They have a lot of seniors. In fact, I would say about 1/3 of the people here are about age 55. And we are having a growing community of young newborn. We have a bad mix of population against these potential environmental pollutants. And that's my point. And I agree with everybody else's that have presented before me, and I would like to appeal to have this project object.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Regina Rafferty. It's R-A-F-F-E-R-T-Y. I am representing, I'm the trustee for a property, 13 acres at 10 South 055 Thurlow in Burr Ridge. I also, I agree with everything everybody said, so I'm not going to beat the dead horse, sir. But I also have worked at 361 South Frontage Road in Burr Ridge for over 15 years. I'm on that 83 every day. The traffic is horrible. You're going to do something very bad for the business community for traffic. I'm seriously considering if we're going to renew our lease in July, because this is way more traffic than it needs. I'm going to also ask if an EPA study was done for the wells. The gentleman talked about the ozone and whatnot, but many of these properties, including the one I represent, are on wells. We've already had a problem with that business that was in Willowbrook. We don't need more of that either. I think your community has spoken. We would really like you to vote against this. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next, how many other people want to make statements tonight? One, just two? Well, we might finish this evening.
My name is Safaz Zarzor. I provided my name. I was sworn in.
Can you spell your last name, please?
Zarzor. I am a majority owner of Damascus Falafel, one of the four businesses at 10 S410. I just wanted to provide a little bit of nuance on some of the issues. I am an attorney by profession, and I'm familiar with zoning matters quite a bit. First of all, I want to say I love Quick Trip. I have 3 years in Kansas, Wichita, Kansas. It was always my favorite place to go. Like as a student, 1 a.m., you know, the roast beef sandwich for $1 that like fed a horse was like, yeah. So I say that I love Quick Trip. I think it's a great company, but this is the wrong place for it. It definitely is. First of all, you're not coming to an open land. You are destroying 4 businesses. It was spoken to that, so I'm not going to belabor that point. But I can tell you that when they mentioned that traffic pattern, that this is, first of all, they acknowledged that there would be 30% more. They said 70% will be existing traffic. So they already acknowledged there's 30 more, percent traffic that's going to come here. But I can tell you again, knowing Quick Trip, I can tell you that there will be truckers who will leave I-55 and change their route to come to this place, because either they have their preferred program or their, some incentives that they give. So it's not going to be just traffic coming down. But even then, the traffic that's coming down, right now, it just comes down and just keeps going. But when it pulls in and then it fills and then it wants to come back out, if it's going left, to me, it's an absolute nightmare. I tell you, because again, as a business owner right there, I just bought an SUV. I used to have a smaller car. When I exit with the SUV, there's a truck in front of me. Between the two of us, trying to make a right turn and then get into the far left lane to make a left and get on I-55, it's a nightmare. I feel for myself and the people on that street having just an SUV. And so for me to tell me, and they were saying 4 trucks an hour. Look at it right here. Look at it. Imagine, and that's the other thing. When they go in, it's not that they're coming in and they have all of this distance to go. They go in and then they have to kind of make a turn here, which is very difficult. But then when they get here, imagine 2 of those semi trucks exiting at the same time. They will hold up traffic forever. But last thing I want to say, again, to talk about the different religious centers, but the Mecca Center in particular, in Ramadan for 30 days, you not only have a Friday prayers from 12 to 2 where it's extremely busy, you have 30 days of night prayer where people come in literally the thousands, and they need to be going in and out, and that intersection can never take that traffic. So I agree with everything else that everybody who posed the project as well, and I personally also urge you, Mr. Chairman and respected board members to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Donald Schultz, I have been sworn in. My address is 11 South 077 Palisades. I am basically 2 blocks south of the proposed area on the east side of 83. And the past 4 or 5 years, this McDonald's has relocated from where it was, etc. Traffic on 91st Street is terrible. I come through there every day, quite often. It takes more than one traffic signal to get through or make a right turn. And this is with left turn lanes that have been installed years ago. Plus, the comment that the strip mall there 40 years ago was not there. I've been there 40 years. There was no strip mall for at least 10 years. And I don't know how they slipped that in with the residential zoning. But it's not been there 40 years, so don't try and say, we've been doing this and let's just keep going. And the traffic is getting worse. You go down 83, you go across the bridges, you used to go across. Now at midday, you sit there and wait for multiple traffic signals with the traffic on 83. And to put another service facility there in a short area will do no good for the community. Not to mention you have Waterfall Glen and the Forest Preserve green areas, and this is within a few blocks of that now we're talking. So they are not doing anything for the green area of the neighborhood, and they're just increasing congestion and traffic. That's all I have to say, and I think it's a terrible idea.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Toshiba Turner, Turner, Turner. I was sworn in. I am speaking on behalf as outreach in person with the Willowbrook Corners, but also a resident. I actually stay in the apartments, which I'll be about 5 to 7 minutes walking distance from where this project will be located. We've been working with DuPage Board to offer more resources that our community desperately needs. Due to the fact that we're unincorporated, we don't have a park district, we don't have public transportation. Our children walk to the school a lot because of their central location to do other activities. It's just not nothing that we need. This area is also a food desert. You're taking one of the only little small grocery stores that we do have. If it's something that is built in a site, a community center, or a grocery store will benefit the community more than a truck stop would. I'm agreeing with all the previous speakers, and I'm just asking the board to vote against this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. All right, I think I'm gonna take these three people this evening. I have a list of additional information that I would like the petitioner to present. We need to go to questions from the members of the board, so I think we're gonna need a follow-up hearing on the 26th. But I'd like to wrap up this evening with these three people. Go right ahead.
My name is Carol Soule. It's KAROLSOLE. I'm a resident of Westmont, the far southeastern corner of Westmont. But I have many friends who are living or worshiping in this area. I know this area well, and I've done some work in the area with Willowbrook Corners and things like that. First of all, I agree completely with the impact on traffic. The traffic study was not done at a time of day appropriate for the use in this area. Most of all, I want to mention the proponents using the magic phrase of highest and best use. Highest and best use to many people is getting the most money out of it. We are destroying more and more of our environment every day. I work in the field of environmental health and safety. We have a beautiful, untainted area that they're proposing to put a gas station of all things on. Gas stations, I've yanked tanks. They leak sometimes. Highest and best use of this would be something that serves the community, which is clearly not interested in another gas station in this area. Something, maybe some recreational space in this undestroyed natural area. There is some wetlands concern in this area. I don't know how much study has been done on that. And something that whole community, I think, somebody just finally mentioned it, could really use is an actual grocery store. There are a lot of people who are not privileged to own vehicles. And a convenience store, yeah, that might be convenient, but it's not the same as a grocery store. So please respect the wishes of the people who live in this area. They don't want this project. The highest and best use might make a lot of money for somebody, but it doesn't serve the community.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Shauna Gunlockson. I have been sworn in. It's Gunlogson. And I agree with all my neighbors here. I live off of Skyline Drive, 10S366, right next to the gentleman, right near the gentleman near Palisades. I find the odd number of parking spaces, 49. I think that's going to be easily accommodated to accommodate more trucks for an idling, for one thing. And as someone who has had to deal with someone that was hit by a truck, put in a coma, years of recovery in dealing with the trucking company that did not want to deal with what they had caused. I'd say we don't need this. My husband was hit in December 2nd, 2017. He spent years recovering. He has traumatic brain injury and some brain damage, and it was traumatic on everybody. It changed our relationship, it changed our financials, and I wouldn't want any of my friends and neighbors to deal with that.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Shireen Hussain, Hussain. I live in Timberlake District on 87th Street, and I was sworn in. Just a couple of things. I know I didn't want to repeat anything, but I actually, I'm on the board at the Mecca Center as well. I'm actually the vice president. But the thing that I wanted to say was that, Mecca's a community center beyond just being a place of worship. So we really do care about the community, everything that's been said. One of the things is that I'm actually an avid biker. I go biking with my whole family is into biking, and it's already kind of difficult to bike on 91st Street. We already have a hard time. We're always looking out for traffic. That was one thing. And the 7 Star is actually a grocery store. People might just see it as a convenience. It's actually a full grocery store. I do my groceries there. So I think for all the community back there who may not have that many advocates, may not be able to come here and may not be able to speak for themselves, that is a very important, place for them to do their groceries. And thirdly, I was recently in a terrible accident where just somebody going down Route 83 at 80 miles an hour, and I just was coming out of just a block away, and I was completely hit. Car was completely totaled, and just somebody just running around like so. Those are the things that I want to say, and hope that we can approach this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Council, customarily, when we have a proposal like this, we get information about, you don't have to stand up or go up. I'm going to go through a list of things that I'd like you to consider presenting at the next hearing. Okay. So we usually get information about hours of operation. I presume it's 24/7, but I don't know. Some additional information about interior lighting and the photometric information that we requested in June. We ought to have some information about number of employees and designated employee parking, whether there's food service that's contemplated. Are you gonna, I heard something about a beef sandwich. So what are you gonna do about food preparation, food service, and garbage disposal? I don't know if the dumpster is designated on the site plan and whether it probably is. I guess I just didn't see it. And then whether it's shielded. Information about signs, the point about liquor sales, I don't propose to restrict it, but we'd like to know about it. We need a fair bit more information about whether there will be reefer trucks, overnight parking, whether drivers will be restricted from sleeping there overnight, and how all of these restrictions are to be enforced, including there was reference made that we already have an interior circulation plan, so I'd like to see that. I'm sure we'd all like to see that. There ought to, I don't know if landscaping is designated here on any of these exhibits, because I didn't get a chance to look through all of them. But some kind of a landscape plan. And then, how do you propose to regulate the interior circulation? Will you have signage or whatever? And, you know, how do you control that? That's my list. I'm not gonna, we'll allow the board members to review the transcript from the prior hearing and then ask questions later, but if any board member wants to add a list of information that, or list of items for the petitioner to present next time, we ought to take that now. And then, of course, so my stuff, anything that the board proposes now, and then you'll have an opportunity for presentation, conclusions, etc. At the next hearing.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, we'll be able to respond.
You
to the
will have,
witnesses at the next.
absolutely.
Okay.
So I'd like, the way I see this is maybe a presentation of general information. Will conclude any additional. We're not gonna let people make public comment again and repeat what they said tonight.
I understand.
But I think there was at least one gentleman that was sworn in and didn't speak, and I don't know if there were any others. Were there any others? You? Save here. Well, can you save it till the 26th? I don't want to make you come back. I'll be here. Okay, great. So we'll take very limited additional public comment on the 26th, our stuff, and then it's your show, okay? Great, so thanks, everybody.
How long can letters be written? How long is the public hearing for the letter like?
Well, at the end of the hearing next time, the 26th at 6 o'clock, and this from October. We'll announce a schedule. It's oftentimes we close the record at the end of the hearing, but because I said I would, I'll permit the record to stay open for a certain period of time. That period of time will depend on the schedule of our next recommendation meeting, or when we consider this. So probably a week or so after the next hearing. Okay, thanks, everybody. I know that all that applause was really directed at the members of the board here. So we'll close for this evening. Thank you very much.